It's seance time.
Was that you?
Is there anybody there?
Brutal murders, bloodshed and imprisonment await us in Leap Castle.
Hello and welcome to Most Haunted. We've decided to push ourselves to the limit, and to do that we've come all the way to Ireland, to what has been described as the most haunted castle in Europe, and it's called Leap. It's a place that instills fear into the most hardened of ghost hunters. There are 3 main rooms here with at least 20 ghosts, and we're going to be spending 24 hours with them all.
Leap Castle was built in the 14th century and was used as a stronghold of the O'Carroll family, powerful Irish princes who thought nothing of murder. In fact, the castle's history seems to be nothing but a massive bloodbath. In the 1930s, workmen discovered 3 cartloads of human bones in the dungeon, and a nasty ghost called an elemental, half animal, half human, enjoys terrorizing residents. Spending the night at Leap Castle were our usual crew, and they were feeling a little nervous at the prospect. Maybe our parapsychologist Jason Carl could put them at their ease.
Jason, we've heard that Leap is supposed to be the most haunted castle in Europe. Where does that come from?
Well, really it comes from people talking about the ghost stories. They're extremely well known through books about ghosts, websites, television programmes, etc., etc. And the reputation it's got is not necessarily down to the amount of phenomena that have occurred, it's more to the amount of attention that it's got.
Now, one of the main ghosts here is the elemental. What is an elemental ghost?
Well, of course, it's just a theory like any other ghost story. But elemental spirits or ghosts are supposed to be created by negative forces and influences, such as rituals. This castle is allegedly built on the site of a pagan ceremonial site. So those rituals will add to that. Also, there's stories of murders happening here. So the unpleasant history sort of forms, if you like, a being which people sense when they go into the place of a feeling of unease, and that is what's described as an elemental ghost.
And one of the other things that have been mentioned here, it's almost like a coil-type energy that people have seen. What on earth is that?
Well, these sort of coils, as you described it, of energy, or spirals of energy, are more often photographed than they're actually seen by a human eye. There are a couple of other places they've been seen, but mostly it's through the camera. Now, people have sent us these from all over the world, different cameras, different times, different places, and they all seem to show the same kind of image. They are alleged to be associated with ghosts because the places where the photographs have been taken are where people have seen ghosts. So we connect them to ghosts in that way. The truth is we don't know what they are. They're really described as energy. We don't know that. All we know is it's some form of light.
Could it be sort of a beginning of a manifestation of a ghost?
Well, that's again one of the theories that psychics and sensitives give to us, that there are different stages of ghost manifestation and that they need energy from some source in order to progress through the stages, and that this stage is called ectoplasmic formation, I believe, and that's supposed to be the 3rd stage before an actual apparition occurs. It's interesting as well that people have described here having a static or electric shock when it's occurred, because that fits in with the energy. The truth is, as with everything else, we don't really know.
Now, I never thought I'd hear myself say this, but I'm actually quite scared at our spiritualist medium, Derek Okora, arriving. Now, he has no idea about Leap Castle at all. But what if he goes into one of those trance things?
I hope he does.
That'll do me in.
Unless he's too
totally.
scared to come at all.
So just how had Leap's many ghosts made their presence felt to current owner Sean Ryan?
Well, we experience, most of all, I would say, from the beginning, copycat sounds when I was working, and lots of footsteps. The other thing is like a chant, like monks chanting, and those are things that were happening from the start. The Carrolls here invited down mercenaries from north of Sligo. They were a sub-tribe of one of the great northern clans, the O'Neills. And so they invited them back here for a banquet, and they laced their drinks and killed all 39 of them in the chapel, in the bloody chapel. There's the famous elemental, I suppose, announces itself with a horrific smell almost like a smell of rotting meat, and then appears on the spiral staircase and frightens the living daylights out of everybody.
My family and I were upstairs in the upper room, and I was sitting on the floor, and I saw a little girl running up the stairs. And from then on, people have been experiencing strange happenings. Sometimes I don't like going up the stairs on my own. One time we had visitors here, and there was an actor from America, and we were walking down the avenue, and she said that she saw something strange falling from the top of the castle, and it was the little girl. She saw the little girl falling from the top of the castle, and she hadn't been told about it, so she didn't know.
One of Leap Castle's many ghostly residents seems to be particular about who she makes contact with.
The unusual thing about the nanny or governess is that people who visit here experience her much, much more than we do. Even as late as last week, we had a lady here who met her, and she brushed out. See, she tends to brush off people and touch people and that. And unusually, it's actually people who are blonde that she's most attracted to. For some reason, we have no reason in the wide out of the world we don't know why. But right since we've come here, and it's been people who are fair-haired that she touches off. But there's an old man that comes down from, he's in the oubliette, he lives in the oubliette, and we're told quite happy to be in the oubliette, but he does leave it and comes down to the upper hall occasionally. And he has moved a couple of pictures off the wall for me, and because I misbehaved, I didn't honour a promise I made. They asked, in fact, that we would never lock the door coming out of the upper hall, and I did one night, and the pictures were taken off the wall and left beside me in the bed. So, and it was just a gentle reminder to say that not to do it again, so we haven't. The end of the 1700s, early 1800s, a lot of Irish men married into the Cherokee Nation. So in their names, quite a lot of them have Irish surnames. So a lot of the elder ladies come back to Ireland looking for tracing roots and that, Irish roots. They made a contact, they were constantly in contact with the spirits here. They found that, I was working on the place at the time, restoring, I still am and I will be for the next 100 years, but they found that they were huddled in corners and quite afraid of the work that was going on. I think they thought that it might be, taking the place back to earlier times when I suppose maybe they lost their lives or whatever here, and that the regime probably wasn't very good here, and they were quite afraid of that. So they were reassured that that wasn't going to be the way.
With such a cast of spiritual characters to choose from, our producer Carl decided to waste no time in getting down to the serious business of ghost hunting.
Well, it's 12:30, and I just thought I'd come up into this room, which is the middle room, the banqueting room, I suppose. We've there's a little girl been seen in here, or two little girls been seen in here, which are, and sometimes they're matron, I suppose. I'm going to sit quietly and see what happens, because it's been seen quite often during the day as well as at night. If you're here, please try to show yourself to me. Please try to appear by the fire if you're there. Do you exist?